And today we're gonna talk about the Epstein Files, and it's a heavy topic. And I was just telling Jessica, I've tried to ignore this topic, um, and it keeps coming up in the therapy room, and so in just interesting, odd way. Um, People changing their behaviors because of the Epstein Files is a huge one. Increased anxiety of the culture in general because of the huge one. One conversation was, I'm really now scared of male sexuality because of the Epstein Files. And so it is taking a toll on people's mental health. And
Amen.
that's what I want us to talk about today, the toll that it's taking on people's mental health. I think I try to put my head in the ground because I don't do well with kids being hurt. And
Yeah.
so
Same.
I'm already a therapist. So I already got to hear, I love being a therapist. I do. I'm called to it. I hope I can do it to 2 days before I die. I love this work. And I also know I'm usually hearing people's stories of the worst parts of their life, you know. And so we as therapists actually, if we're not careful, we actually have this very skewed, we could develop this very skewed view of the world because we're only interacting with clients
Yeah.
sometimes 25, 35 hours a week, where we're dealing with clients when they're having where they're telling us about the worst moments. So they're working through very hard problems. And I really do believe this. As sex therapists, I think we deal with even harder problems.
Yeah.
Definitely so. And so I think that takes a toll a little bit. And so I have no problem saying, Epstein Files, yeah, I'm going to put my head in the ground on that. Not going to pay attention to that. But it keeps coming into the therapy room. So it's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
So I went to my partner. I'm like, apparently I'm going to have to know a little bit more about the Epstein Files.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can tell me without me knowing everything? Can you cherry pick things for me to know so I don't have to do a deep dive to figure out how can we do this? Filter the information for me so I can at least just continue to have these conversations and sit with people.
Yeah.
And so I think if there's tips to give, I think one of the things is don't do a deep dive.
Yeah.
Don't as much as you can monitor your social media intake, the doom scrolling.
Yeah.
You got to pull up out of it. You got to pull up out of it. And the algorithms are wonderful in so many ways. And in so many ways, they can put you in a silo. It'll keep giving you what you've been watching. And so you will need to purposefully pick some other things to watch. So, I'm going to challenge everybody to also put in their algorithm babies laughing, animals frolicking. And so it's not such a doom scroll on the worstness of the world, and that's all you see. Because it's going to be and I think that we forget that we can get into silos with social media, that it will keep feeding us. And so hopefully to add a little comedy into this, I had a client one time was like, don't you understand the only thing that's on Instagram is naked ladies? And I was like, I've never seen a naked lady on my Instagram. Stick with your algorithm, my dear son. I was like, I don't have that understanding at all. And so that was just a real thing of the algorithms work, and sometimes they work too well. So, okay. All right, ladies, what would you guys like to add to the conversation? What are you thinking? What are you hearing? How are you doing? Who wants to jump in first? I know, heavy.
I can.
You go first.
I think it's really interesting. So actually, with my kiddo last night, we watched season 3, episode 2 of The Rookie, which I feel like parallels to this, not
Really?
Let me get there. It's not
Okay.
obvious, but it's one of those things where, so in the episode, he is in a high crime area. It's predominantly minority area, and
Mm-hmm.
he is trying to help. He is helping in the way he thinks help should be given.
Ooh, okay.
And is not talking to the people who are actually living in this area. So he tried
Mm-hmm.
to unlock the park, and he's like, yeah, there are needles in the thing. Like, we can't do this. Like, the park is a place for drug dealers and vagrants and bad people gather. And so, like, if you open it, it's going to cause problems. There aren't lights. So then he tries to put up lights, and he's like, they're just going to smash the lights. Stop. And I think to a certain extent, this is kind of the underlying theme of the Epstein Files, in that a lot of people were aware that a lot of this has been going on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
This existed outside of your knowledge of this existing. And so part of it is understanding that your world has shifted because you didn't acknowledge that this was present. But a lot of people were aware this is a thing that's been happening the whole time.
Yeah.
And that sense of robbed safety, I think, is a big part of it as well, of like, I thought I was safe. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought these people were on my side. And it's like, no, they were never. That was never a real thing. That is what we believed. Just like in that scenario, he was not seeing the minorities' experience and what they dealt with on a reality in a system that was not built for them. We are dealing with a system that is not built for poor people. Like, it is not built for minorities. It is not built for children or to protect children. That was never its intent. So, yeah.
I gotta say that, like, it feels like a rock in my stomach that we have a system that wasn't built to protect children. Like, out of all of what you said, like, that's just like, oh God. Okay. All right. Okay, Amanda, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things for me in all these revelations, of all the hard things, and I've had a few clients mention it, I've seen it all over my social media, is women grappling with so many of the beauty and sexual norms that we have are rooted in looking like a prepubescent girl, or, you know, the youthfulness that we are pushed to, and hair removal. And, you know, we talk about all of these things in sex therapy, you know, couples preferences and things like that. And I've just seen it really acutely these last few days. So many women of all ages. I mean, I have a 12-year-old daughter who asked me some really hard questions after, like, listening to the news yesterday. I'm seeing so many women grappling with parts of their sexuality and their sexual expression in this. And it's with, you know, we're talking about kids, like, that's heartbreaking. The impact on women is so heartbreaking. And yeah, it's just like you, Natalie, I try to, I think what you were saying, you know, like, I try to avoid a lot of this news. I try to keep, you know, knowing the work we do, I try to keep my life positive. I don't listen to anything political anymore. It's just not good for me. But this feels a little different. Like, as much as I want to avoid it, I don't think I can. I can't.
Right. No.
So I'm feeling like the weight of holding a lot of this trauma, like, for myself as a woman, and also for my clients and the people I care about.
Yeah. All right. Something you said made me want to talk to people about, I see sex like fire. And like fire, handled incorrectly, it can burn people. It can tear a house. It can tear a city down. It can do some terrible things. Handled incorrectly. Handled correctly, it can build things. Like, you're going to heat the fires to transform metal and steel. It can keep a home warm. It can keep people from dying from cold and exposure. It can make inedible food edible. Like, it can do all of these wonderful things, like just heat. And I think sex is like that. Handled incorrectly, it is devastating, and it can terribly hurt a culture. And but handled correctly, it can do so many positive things. And so I would encourage people to sit with the duality of it and not just focus on all of the bad, but also focus on the good. Like sex literally creates life. Literally, like literally creates life. And yet, and it can be an incredible expression for love. And then it can also, on the other end, be I don't even want to use the expression. I just want it can be used for power and control and greed and hurt and damage and pain. And so many things. So just try to balance it if you can. And I know sometimes it's hard to hold two dualities, which can be so opposed and at odds. Okay, jump in, Jessica. I see you.
Yeah, so I went to a really great training, and it talked specifically about this, and I think the vocabulary that they gave is really helpful.
Ooh.
Sex is those things. If it is not consensual, it is rape. There is a word for that. There is non-consensual sex is not a thing. If it's not consensual, it's rape. It's assault. Those are different words versus sex. Like I'm reading Emily Nagoski's Come Together, and she talks about defining sex as a place where everyone is free to leave, everyone is free of coercion, and we're doing something pleasurable. Period. That's sex. It doesn't matter who you're with or what that looks like. And so I think to get specific, and I know people don't like to use rape and assault talking about those actions.
I think that's a nice differentiation. Yeah. That feels really good. All right. Yeah. So I think why this is hitting home, I think at a time where it feels like our country is unstable, it's like in your face that, power, sex, and secrecy, and that people aren't safe. And so all of these things, I think, are impacting people's general mental health. And at some point, you've got to acknowledge the straws will break the camel's back. And so I know some people are like, it's just one more thing. It's just one more thing. It's just one more thing. But eventually the straws will break the camel's back. And so definitely I want to encourage people to take care of themselves in light of all of these things that are going on. And what does that look like? What does that look like? All right. So for you guys, what are you guys telling people in the face of, and I feel so bad for my clients that this is bringing up past traumas for them. So, because it feels like me and my clients have joked every now and then, like when something bad is going on, and then it's like the news and social media is like out to get you and to rub it in your face. Yeah. And so sometimes music. One time, I had a particular client who was struggling with some betrayals in his life, and the song "These Hoes Ain't Loyal," it seemed like it played like every single time, and we just had to laugh about it. It's like the world is against me. The whole world is conspiring against me right now. And we're making him remember that. And so it very much can feel like that if all of these things are bringing up trauma for you. And so definitely do the things you need to do to keep yourself safe. And so it may be saying, hey, friend, I love you, but this is a topic that I can't talk about right now. Like, I just can't. It may look like you, I don't know, watching like my parents do, watching TV shows from the 1960s or something that like keep you very, you kind of know what the storyline is going to be. Nothing's going to pop up. It may be you switching radio stations, music. It may be you doing a lot of things, and I want to give you the permission to do what you need to do to keep yourself safe.
Yes.
So, okay, what else is coming up for you guys?
Yeah, I'm doing some of that too, Natalie. I'm all about not re-traumatizing ourselves, and curating our environment as best as we can. So if that means let's say you work in an office where there's a TV playing the news all the time, get the earplugs. You don't need to hear it.
Yeah.
If you find yourself, you can't turn the news off, leave
Mm-hmm.
your house, go take a walk. There's so much in our environment that
Mm-hmm.
is background noise. The
Mm-hmm.
radio, the TV, the doom scrolling. So I work a lot with clients on curating an environment that is kind to our nervous system. Um, I have a weighted blanket that sits on my lap during sessions
Mm.
because I can, and I feel good when I have it on. And if that can make my day 2% better, and some days it's 30% better, why not? Why not? So, it's a gift to ourselves that in the end is not a heavy lift most of the time. We just need to figure out. So, I've been doing that with some clients this week and last week. Turn off the noise, cocoon, go into your cocoon if you need to. It's okay.
Yeah, that's really good. There's actually a podcast called 10% Happier. And I love the idea of what if we just try to improve 10% at a time, or 2% at a time, or 1% at a
Yeah.
time, knowing, and I think 1% change is an easier lift, right? It's an easier thing to do in transition. So thanks for adding that. All right, Jessica, what else is coming up for you?
Yeah, I think also because it gives you a sense of lack of control of your world, finding small actionable items that feel important. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's revoking your child's permission to get their picture taken at school. Maybe it's starting a neighborhood watch. Maybe it's writing letters to Congress people and calling, or joining protests, or whatever feels actionable and immediate for right now. Because a lot of those things we don't have control over. We don't have control whether or not a lot of these people are going to be brought to task,
Yeah.
which feels very frustrating and infuriating. And I had a client tell me that it feels like I'm in a glass house and everything's on fire and nobody can hear me. And I'm like, there's a lot of people in that house, and there are a lot of people screaming, and a lot of people know what's going on, and we
Yeah.
just can't see each other.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of people aware that this is not the world that they want to live in.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to caution clients, particularly my couples. I don't want this outside influence impacting you internally. And so for some couples, that's going to be having hard conversations and talking about it. And so it's I feel like I'm telling y'all to do two things. Like, don't look at it, and yet if you got to talk about it and look at it. I don't want it impacting you and you bringing more attention to it if it's impacting you, and yet if it's impacting you, you can't ignore it. I want you to be able to talk about it and work through it and see. And if there's somebody in a committed relationship but has a trauma history, then definitely, it is understandable that all of this trauma everywhere you look is going to impact you. It's going to impact your functioning. And
Yeah.
so what do you need for it not to impact you? And then making sure you feel good about having those conversations. And if you don't, and I understand that some of y'all got to feel like you are waking up in quicksand and trying to operate and function normally. And how do you do that? And so I get that. So I also want to remind you guys that we are here to energetically hold your hand through this and to help you figure out how to get through all of this. And so yeah.
I think it's important to add that this could create irreparable fractures in your relationships, because how someone reacts to this and the level of outrage or frustration or whatever if that is not reciprocated or understood or validated, if someone is a, oh, boys will be boys type mentality, that will devastate relationships and you will potentially lose your marriage over this. So like just being aware that this is not a political opinion. This is, are we treating humans, children with the rights that they should be treating? Like, are we treating humans as humans and not as objects? And that's not a political stance. No one should be treating humans as objects, period. Right. Again, unless it's a consensual space, and that gets into BDSM, and we're not going to get over there. Because they do have people that like to be lamps or tables or chandeliers. Like that's a thing for them, and they like that. But it's consensual.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Amanda. Anything else coming up for you?
Yeah, I just want to add on to what you were saying, Natalie, about like you're like I'm almost telling y'all two things, right? Like, but you're not. Like, I just want to highlight that every moment is a new moment, and some moments you need to speak your truth and read the news and walk to the protest. And some moments you need to turn it all off and just nest in with you and your partner and your babies and not see the world. And I think so often as women or as sexual creatures or just human beings, we think that we have to silo ourselves into one thing. Like, I'm an activist, so I'm going to do every protest and share every article on social media. But we are dynamic creatures. And anybody that's watching, I want to like let you know, like some days, if some days feel hard, like nurture yourself on those days. You know, even though we've been hearing about these files for months, I have to say, like, it's only been the last week or 10 days that it's started to affect me. Like, you know, it's just, so be curious about yourself. Be kind to yourself. And to your point, Jessica, you know, that there may be moments where you and your partner don't see this clearly or eye to eye. So don't be afraid of hard conversations when you have the bandwidth to have them. Because I think there are a lot of people having some really hard conversations. Right?
Yep. I want to highlight that she said, when you have the bandwidth to have them, which means like you're well rested, you're feeling okay, you've eaten, like these basic things like are needed to have a good conversation. Like decision
is off, you know?
Right? Decision fatigue is a thing. Like literally just being tired is a thing, and how you respond. And so having the conversations at a time when y'all both can have a good conversation is so important. Validation is so needed. Like I feel like I can't say it enough. I think we're teaching it all the time. I think that's all I have to say on that. But Amanda, I'm with you. Like, it's just over the last like week, 10 days, I would say that like now it's here. Like it's this is the week. Like, okay, I can't ignore this anymore. Okay. All right.
I also
I wonder what that's about. I have no idea. Like, is it just tipped to it, or it's finally so much really impacting people? So that's interesting.
Saturation point, I think. Like it's, but I also like another thought that keeps coming up, and I've had it like 3 times, so I feel like I need to say it. The context that I'm thinking about this is in my faith community, there is an issue about gender happening right now. And there's a petition that was going around that I signed last night that my pastor asked us to sign if we were interested. And I noticed the 30 or so people that's responded, every single one was a woman. Ooh. And this is something that, or actually there were 32 were men, 28 were women. So let me be fair. There are 2 men. Men, we need you to speak up. We need men on the right side of history for this. And if you care about your daughter, your mother, your partner, other human beings,
How about that part?
we need the good men out there
Mm-hmm.
to speak up and say, this is not okay.
Mhm.
And because we've got 3 women here, women are rattling their swords, but we already knew. I mean,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
most of this we already knew. It's just that tipping point of saturation. It's all of it all at once, right? Um, I need to see more men speaking up. Like that. And I think a lot of our clients and a lot of people we have contact with that feel like they're in that burning house, Jessica, that they can't get out. We need to hear more voices. And so I'm sorry to get on a soapbox here, but I think that this is an important conversation for couples and just humans in general. Like, speak up.
Mm-hmm. That was it. That was perfect. You're right. That was perfect. Okay. I have no other thoughts. Jessica, do you have any other thoughts to close us out?
I was just thinking of like, even when people do endurance trials or relay races, there's periods of rest. People who circumnavigated the globe, they still slept, they still rest, they didn't travel the entire time. And so if we think about this as a relay race, you are handing the baton to the next person and you are resting during your downtime. Rest is important to be able to keep fighting. So like if you exhaust yourself, that's not helpful.
No.
And so you need to be able to pass the baton to the next person.
Okay. All right, fabulous lady. Here's the passing the baton. All right. As always, people, we're here to help you, to talk to you, to have these conversations with you. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.